Behind me is the house where Andrew Searle and his wife Dawn were found last Thursday by a neighbour who had become worried that he hadn't seen them out on their usual dog walk. He walked down the drive and was horrified to discover the body of Dawn outside in her pyjamas with jewellery scattered around her. He then called the police, and inside they found the body of Andrew Searle. We are looking possibly at a break-in gone wrong, or there is also some speculation that it might have something to do with Mr. Searle's private life. He was a financial investigator for 20 years, but also police and prosecutors are not ruling out the possibility that it was a tragic murder-suicide and it might have some family element behind it. Mail Online was able to actually recover some CCTV of Mr. Searle buying 2 lottery tickets and a chocolate bar the evening before he died. Shopkeepers said that, as I say, he appeared happy and relaxed. Dawn was waiting outside in the VW car that they had. And he said that he was a regular in that shop. He'd been coming in at least twice a day for the last few years to buy lottery tickets, chocolates and cigarettes.
Mystery surrounds the tragic deaths of a British couple in their remote rural French home, leaving family members with numerous unanswered questions. Andrew Searle, 65, a retired financial investigator, and his wife Dawn, 56, who had been married for just 2 years, were discovered last Thursday by a concerned friend who had grown worried after not seeing them walking their dogs. Dawn Searle was the mother of Scottish actor Callum Kerr, recognized for playing PC George Kiss in the soap opera Hollyoaks from 2020 to 2021. The couple's remains were found at their residence in Les Pesquis, approximately 2 hours north of Toulouse, prompting police to initiate a murder investigation. Prosecutor Nicholas Riggett-Muller confirmed that both victims had suffered violent deaths. Residents of the small community expressed their shock and confusion regarding the incident, struggling to comprehend what could have led to such a tragedy. Andrew Searle's father, 88-year-old former Army Major Fred Searle from Littlehampton, West Sussex, has travelled to France to assist in the investigation. He stated, "We've got thousands of questions and very few answers. The following are key aspects of the case currently under investigation. 1. What were the causes of death? French media have reported that Mr. Searle, a former counter-fraud specialist, was discovered inside the house hanging from a banister with a gag in his mouth, though local officials have not confirmed this information. A local resident, whose friend is a firefighter, recounted that the firefighter was deeply disturbed by the scene, describing it as horrific. Odile Marion, a close friend of the couple who lives just 5 minutes away, shared that Dawn was found outside the house in her pajamas by a neighbor, suffering from a head injury. She further mentioned that Dawn's jewelry was scattered around her, and the neighbor who discovered them promptly alerted the police, who then found Andrew inside the house. A specialist pathologist was flown in by helicopter for the initial investigation and reportedly determined that neither gunshot nor knife wounds were present. 2. Was it a murder-suicide or else burglary gone wrong? Jewelry was reportedly scattered around Mrs. Searle's body. However, the theory that the deaths resulted from a burglary gone wrong has been dismissed by the town's mayor, Jean-Sébastien Orsabal. He asserted that the case was clearly a homicide rather than a family tragedy, indicating that authorities do not believe the couple took their own or each other's lives. Mr. Orsabal emphasized that the couple was well integrated into the village community. He mentioned that Mr. Searle had been an active member of the town's festival committee and frequently hosted neighborhood gatherings, where residents were invited for an aperitif and socializing. Additionally, Mr. Orsabal noted that burglaries are rare in the town, particularly violent ones. 3. Did the couple have any known enemies in the local community? Andrew and Dawn Searle were well-liked members of the Les Pesquis community, having moved to France after retiring in 2015. As part of their investigation, detectives have been surveying the neighborhood. The locals reported that the couple had no known adversaries. A neighbor, Dominique Lebiere, shared, "We knew them well. They had dogs, and we would occasionally go on walks together. They got along with everyone. When we moved here, they made sure to introduce us to the neighbors. They were very kind." Isabelle Palazzi, a shopkeeper from the nearby town of Villefranche-de-Rouergue, also recalled, "They were a wonderful couple, always cheerful and sociable, and they spoke fairly good French." 4. Could Andrew Searle's crime investigator past be a factor? Speculation has arisen that the couple may have been targeted by British criminals due to Mr. Searle's past role as a counter-fraud specialist. Mr. Searle reportedly spent over 20 years collaborating with the police and the Serious Fraud Office to combat organized crime groups engaged in financial offenses such as money laundering. An investigating source stated, "A criminal inquiry has been initiated, and there are concerns that the couple was murdered. They were in good health and well regarded in the community, but one theory suggests they were pursued by criminals from the United Kingdom." This remains the primary line of investigation, as Mr. Searle was previously involved in efforts against organized crime and terrorism. His work included sanction screening, a process of identifying individuals and entities restricted from business dealings in the UK due to associations with rogue states, terrorist organizations, or drug trafficking networks. This involvement could have placed Mr. Searle on the radar of global criminal networks, including those operating in Russia. Mr. Searle retired to France in 2015 following a professional career in Scotland, where he worked in the Financial Crime Assurance Division of Barclays Bank in Edinburgh. Prior to this, he studied at Liverpool John Moores University and was employed at Standard Life, another financial institution based in the Scottish capital. On his LinkedIn profile, he described his responsibilities as delivering significant improvements in anti-financial crime (AFC) capabilities and developing effective operating models within a group structure. 5. When and where were the couple last seen? Surveillance footage captured Mr. Searle entering a tobacconist in Villefranche-de-Rouergue shortly before 6 p.m. on Wednesday evening, just as the shop was closing. He appeared cheerful and at ease as he purchased a chocolate bar and 2 €3 lottery tickets, then thanked the shopkeeper before heading to his car, where his wife, Dawn, was waiting. Around his neck, he wore a tracking device used to monitor the couple's 2 hunting dogs. These dogs were later found at the scene and taken by police for DNA analysis as part of the investigation into their violent deaths. Isabel Palazzi, 58, who served Mr. Searle that evening, expressed her shock. "I couldn't believe it when I heard what happened." He and Dawn were regulars. He came in daily to buy Fortuna Blue cigarettes. That evening, he arrived just before closing time, seeming completely at ease. He chatted, bought chocolate and 2 lottery tickets, and left looking perfectly fine. Knowing that they would be dead less than 24 hours later is chilling. I still can't believe it. On the CCTV footage, Mr. Searle enters the shop at 5:51 p.m., right after a woman with a baby steps out. He waits patiently behind another customer before placing the chocolate on the counter and requesting 2 lottery tickets. He completes the purchase with a card transaction and exits at 5:53 p.m. The following day, he and his wife were discovered at approximately 12:30 p.m. 6. What might Mr. Searle have been arguing about in a phone call that was witnessed? A neighbor living near the couple's home in Les Pasquies, about 2 hours north of Toulouse, recalled seeing them the day before their deaths. Expressing the community's shock, the neighbor stated, "No one can believe what happened. They were such a friendly couple, hosting an annual barbecue at the end of summer where everyone was invited." The neighbor also mentioned spotting them walking their dogs the previous day, with Andrew engaged in an intense phone conversation. He seemed very agitated, arguing in English. He briefly waved at me and continued his call. "I don't know if it's relevant, but I don't believe burglary was the reason." Close friend Odile Marion shared that Mr. Searle had also been upset just hours before his death upon discovering his garage door open. She dismissed any notion of a family tragedy, highlighting their plans for upcoming events and dog walks together. "I know someone had opened his garage door, and he was trying to figure out who it was. Maybe it was him, maybe it wasn't, I don't know if it's connected," she said. "What I do know is that he was very upset and frustrated about it, but there's a chance he left it open himself. We just don't have the answers." 7. What happens next? Family members are set to visit the village in the coming days as authorities continue their investigation into the tragic double deaths. Prosecutors and police have stated they are keeping an open mind regarding the case. Dawn's son, Callum Kerr, who resides in Nashville, Tennessee, paid tribute to his mother on Instagram while requesting privacy for the family during this difficult time. The 30-year-old actor, best known for playing PC George Kiss on Channel 4's Hollyoaks, shared a heartfelt statement expressing his grief over the devastating loss of his mother and her husband. He wrote, "At this time, Callum Kerr and Amanda Kerr are mourning the loss of their mother, Dawn Searle, née Smith, Kerr, while Tom Searle and Ella Searle grieve the passing of their father, Andrew Searle. We kindly ask for privacy during this difficult period. Updates will be shared as appropriate. Thank you for your understanding." Meanwhile, a Foreign Office spokesperson confirmed, "We are assisting the family of a couple who passed away in France and remain in contact with local authorities." Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more updates on celebrity deaths and news updates.